This is a Stokke Scoot chassis, and today we're going to talk about some general tips for maintenance in order to keep this thing in good working order. The first is oiling. So with a spray oil, you want to oil all of the major mechanisms. The first would be here, where you have the central locking mechanism. You can tilt it at an angle and allow it to run in a bit. Also related to the central locking mechanism is this central bit here, and there's a little hole here where you can get some spray grease in. I find that this one can get a bit tight after a while if it hasn't been oiled properly. Then there is the suspension, and that's this general area here, and you can oil that by just getting it in through the top cracks. And then there are the wheels and brake elements. So you want to remove your wheel, and you want to oil here around the pin as well as in here, and from the back side as well. I'll show it on the opposite wheel here where this pin goes in, and then you can also do the brake pedal itself. On the wheels themselves, you can spray a bit of oil here where there is the ball bearing, and that will help it to continue rotating. Sometimes it happens that ball bearings begin to rust, or grit gets in them if they're not maintained properly, and then they can split apart. It's kind of a pain in the butt to replace. Moving on to the front wheels. With the front wheels, you want to reach in back here, and there is a rectangular lever that you can press in to pull it out. And with the spray grease, you only want to grease up the ball bearings on the wheel itself. As far as the point at which this axle connects into the front element, it's much better to use a thicker grease, preferably food industry grease, because it provides a little bit of traction and can prevent damage to the point at which the axle connects inside that housing, and that prevents it from beginning to wobble as the parts wear down over time. You want to do that on both wheels. You can also oil this bit that locks the front wheel. Don't spray too much in, as we're not trying to get too much WD-40 in with the thicker grease, but a bit, especially if you're having trouble with the locking mechanism. So those are the points at which I would oil and grease the stroller. One last thing that's useful to do as a regular maintenance activity with the Scoot is to tighten up the screws. You have them here and here. What happens is that when the screws are too loose, then the parts inside rub against each other and can get damaged, especially the plastic parts. And another key area is behind this wheel. You have a screw here on both sides, and that should also be tightened regularly. So in any case, those are our tips for regular maintenance for the Stokke Scoot. Hope this video has been helpful. If it has, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future.